Please subscribe my channel. I discovered the receipt tucked inside the pocket of my wife's winter coat. At first, I truly didn't think much about it. It was only a little piece of paper, wrinkled and worn as if it had been touched over and over. I was putting away the clean clothes, handling the usual chores of married life that had always seemed strong and reliable to me. The sort of marriage I stood up for when friends made jokes about cheating, as if it were bound to happen. The receipt came from a coffee shop in another part of town, in Portland. 2 coffees, bought at the same time on the same day, every Tuesday. My wife, Emily, never went to that area of Portland. She disliked the heavy traffic. She disliked wasting her time. And she certainly disliked drinking coffee in the afternoon. I stood there gripping that receipt longer than necessary, hearing the buzz of the dryer, convincing myself I was just being overly suspicious. Loyal husbands act that way. We make excuses first, we shield our partners second. We question ourselves last. That evening, I mentioned it casually. Did you grab coffee yesterday? She kept her eyes on her phone. No. Why? Her reply came out too quickly. Something in me changed. Not in a big, noisy way, not with drama, just enough to allow a chill to creep in. I didn't challenge her. I didn't blame her. I smiled, kissed her cheek, and said I'd cook dinner because I loved her. And love keeps you kind when you ought to be watchful. The following Tuesday, I took off work early. I parked on the opposite side of the street from the coffee shop and felt silly, waiting there like a person I never thought I'd turn into. I glanced at my watch often, partly wishing she wouldn't appear, so I could chuckle at my own foolishness and head home feeling foolish. At 2:07 p.m., her car arrived. She got out dressed in the blue sweater I gave her the previous winter, the one she claimed made her feel secure. Then another car showed up. A man stepped out, tall, somewhat familiar in that unclear way some strangers can be. He grinned at her, not in a polite or quick manner. It was the sort of grin that already knew its destination. They embraced, not a casual hug, not one between neighbors, a hug born from habit. I stayed still. I couldn't budge. They entered the shop together, and I remained there gazing at the coffee shop window, as if it could provide some answer. Heartbreak doesn't always come as hurt. Sometimes it comes as a sudden, clear understanding so intense it takes your breath away. I headed home before they emerged. I didn't wish to witness more. I didn't need extra details. I already possessed enough to tear apart all I believed I understood. That evening, Emily seemed happy. She inquired about my day. She chuckled at a show on TV. She took my hand on the sofa as she usually did. I allowed it, and that proved the hardest part. Because true loyalty doesn't vanish simply because the facts show up. It hangs around. It muddles things. It turns you into a partner in your own downfall. For several days, I observed her in a new light. I saw how she angled her phone away while sending texts. How she jumped in the shower right after getting home. How she began fixing her words midway through sentences, as if she were always revising what was real. I convinced myself I required evidence. Not for payback, but for my peace of mind. The evidence arrived faster than I thought. Her phone rang while she showered. I didn't grab it immediately. I simply watched the screen light up repeatedly, like it couldn't wait. The name displayed wasn't concealed, Brian. The message preview was brief, same spot, same time. I miss you. My hands trembled so much I had to take a seat. I didn't look through more. I didn't search deeper. I didn't have to, because all at once every odd mood, every unexpected trip, every weak explanation fit together into a tale I never agreed to join. When she walked downstairs in just a towel, humming a little tune, she stopped cold upon seeing my expression. "What's the matter?" she said. I lifted the phone. Her shoulders sank, not from shock, but from giving up. "I plan to tell you," she replied. "Every cheated-on husband hears those words. They're always the false comfort people give themselves to rest easier." "How long?" I questioned. She paused. Then softly, 7 months. 7 months. I calculated it right away. Holidays, birthdays, lazy Sunday mornings, all spoiled. "Do you love him?" I asked. She began to weep then, as if tears could lessen the harm. "I didn't plan for this to happen," she said. It just did. That's when something in me snapped cleanly, like a bone breaking sharp instead of slowly fracturing. Because secret relationships don't just occur. They're picked every single day. I spent that night in the guest bedroom. I lay staring at the ceiling, going over our years together, puzzling how I could be so involved yet so unaware. In the weeks after, the results came quicker than I expected. Brian wasn't unmarried. His wife reached out to me after seeing messages I hadn't known about. She sounded steady in a manner that scared me. I figured you deserved to know, she said. I'm starting divorce proceedings. You may want to guard yourself. Guard yourself, as though love hadn't served as my shield for years. The aftermath was harsh. Friends picked sides without hearing details. Emily packed up and left, then returned, then departed once more. Vows were given, shattered, given again. Once she stood in our kitchen and declared, I didn't believe you'd really go. That statement revealed it all. She assumed my loyalty was forever, without conditions, unbreakable. She failed to realize that loyalty without truth is merely putting up with things. And putting up with things eventually ends. The day I put my signature on the separation documents, my hands didn't shake, not from being tough, but because the trembling had already done its job. Emily looked at me from the other side of the table, her eyes hunting for something known. I never meant to cause you pain, she said. I gave a nod. I know, I answered. But you did. And for the first time, I picked honesty over faithfulness. Loyalty had defined who I was for so long that releasing it seemed like losing part of myself. But as I stepped out of that office, something surprising occurred. I took a breath, not the short ones of doubt, not the strained ones of refusal, a full, deep one. Because heartbreak doesn't always destroy you. Sometimes it releases you from the false life you followed too closely to see.